on Facebook.
All right, I think we should tilt this camera down a little bit, guys. The Jabor camera, because it's getting a lot of ceiling right now.
Like this.
Yeah, you see, like the comments are covering all the stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe
Yeah. So the comment is on the background.
Maybe even a little bit more.
A bit more.
Yeah, I think right there is good.
Yeah. Like this.
Cool. Now a little bit too much. That was a little too much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's okay. So let's see here. Looks like we're live on Xiaomi live stream, and we're just about to go live on Facebook as well. Double checking here. All right, looks like we're live on Facebook too. Let's see. All right, here we go. We have we have 400 viewers on Facebook. This happened in what? Just a
10 seconds.
A matter of seconds.
Seconds.
Welcome, guys. This is our Mi Drone unboxing live stream. We are live to you from Beijing, from Xiaomi's headquarters here in Beijing. 500 people on the Facebook live stream. We're also live streaming on Xiaomi live stream app. Tell all your friends they can dial in. We're going to get ready to go here in just a few minutes. We've got a big crew here. You can't see them because they're right behind the camera, but you can probably hear them. And so we've been preparing this for a while. We're pretty excited. You can see here the main reason why we are broadcasting live to you today. If you are on Facebook, you should know that I can see all of your questions. So if you ask me questions and I happen to be looking down here, I'll know what you're asking. I'll give you one quick reminder. If you want to be notified of any cool unboxing live streams or other cool product live streams that we do on Facebook, just go up here. Maybe it's around here, and click on the three dots and turn on live video or live notifications. That way you know when we have something cool going on. You'll just be notified right away. And what else? So we have here. We've got a cool setup. Obviously, we've got a little surprise here. I've got a few things in my companion here. Have you guys heard of this? This is the Mi Pad transformer. You can take a closer look if you want. Check that out. So we announced this just a little while back, a few weeks back. This was a collaboration with Hasbro, the well-known toy company. And actually, it's a Mi Pad that basically becomes this guy. It becomes a full-on transformer. Obviously, I've already put it together, but you can see here the edge of the Mi Pad right there. See there? That's so you can sort of recognize that this is actually a Mi Pad at some point, but it actually becomes a transformer. It used to be in pretty good shape until Donovan came into my office and broke it, but that's okay. Donovan is here, by the way. All right. We've got Chewy down here, just keeping us company. Always good to have Chewy around. And, well, what else? We've got a couple of Mi Max devices right here. I wanted to be able to see what's happening in the live stream app, both on Facebook Live as well as on Xiaomi Jabor. And I needed a big screen device, so that's what I have here. I've got two Mi Max. If you want to come take a closer look, you're welcome to do it. You can see exactly what I'm looking at over here. See over there, there you go. What I also have here is I've got a Mi 5 to cheer me up because it's just me here by myself. So whenever I feel unloved, I can just go like this. I can hear some applause. Thank you. That, by the way, is your cue to applaud. I'm very funny today, so I can also go. I can just laugh at myself.
Hugo, you have 1.2 thousand viewers on Facebook.
We have how many?
1.3.
1.3. Going 1.4 thousand viewers on Facebook Live.
3,000 on Xiaomi.
We've got 3,000 on Xiaomi Live. So I think we're almost ready to start here. I'll just whip myself a couple of times. There we go. And get ready to start. Any burning questions? Anything you really want to know before we get started? I'm keeping my eyes here on the Xiaomi on the Facebook Live questions.
Hashtag me drone.
Use hashtag me drone on anything that you do, and of course that'll make your posts more visible. Yes, I am wearing Mi Band 2. Mi Band 2. Do you want to take a closer look? You can if you want. So this is Mi Band 2 right here. It's got a familiar design, but it's actually much more beautiful in my opinion. Also surprise, we have an OLED display, and it's touch enabled sensor, so I can look at obviously the hour, I can look at number of steps. I can also install heart rate monitoring. It's actually just turned midnight, so it says I've taken 0 steps. I haven't moved since midnight, basically. And it's also a much more comfortable strap. The way it attaches is also, I think, better design. So this is coming soon to you guys, wherever you are. You'll be able to get Mi Band 2. Let's see, we've got 1.9 thousand. I think when we get 2,000 viewers on Facebook, we can probably get started.
Share the feed.
Share. Jack is giving me a cue here. I'm trying to find. Go ahead, Jack.
Go ahead. Share this news feed. Share this live feed.
Why don't you guys go ahead and hit the share button so that your friends can also tune in and watch the live unboxing of Mi Drone. By the way, for those who just joined us, this is Hugo. I'm here at the Xiaomi headquarters in Beijing. We are live streaming. Live. Can I say live streaming live?
I guess you can.
All right. Thanks, Jack. Jack tells me what to do, and most importantly, what not to do. So we are live streaming live from Beijing. We're on 2 apps right now. We're on Facebook live right here, and we are on Xiaomi Zhibo also live right here, broadcasting around the world. We have 2.2 thousand viewers on Facebook live, and we have close to 4,000 viewers on Xiaomi live stream. And of course, we're here for the live unboxing of our latest product, the Mi Drone. If you want to see photos of Mi Drone, you can check out my latest post on Facebook. You can do that later. Right now, just stay right here. And we're going to talk about Mi Drone. I'm just waiting for a signal from Jack before we can get started.
Do you want to take any questions?
Let's see. Any questions, guys? I love Xiaomi. Thank you. We definitely love you too.
Give a shout out to some of them.
Vibe is saying, just go ahead and open it. Wait up, man. Wait up. Almost there. Let's see. Abdullah is asking, is this a Xiaomi TV on the background? How could I forget? Yes, this is a Mi TV 3, or 3S, I should say. This is the 48-inch model, or 55. No, I think this is 48-inch model, which is beautiful. It's actually thinner than most phones, actually, pretty funny. What else? Let's see. Wolverine. Did I forget to shave? Yeah, I did. Sorry, guys. Oh, no, you mean this guy. Were you talking about me, or were you talking about this guy? No, that's Mi Bunny. That's Dino Mi Bunny. Dino Mi Bunny. In fact, Dino Mi Bunny also has some cute dino shoes, as you can see right here. You can take a closer look. So I still don't know if you meant Dino Mi Bunny, or if you're talking about me when you said Wolverine. The mystery will continue. All right.
All right, you have 3,000 viewers on Facebook.
Looks like we just hit 3,000 viewers on Facebook. Jack is telling me here. Thank you, Lezong, for the Porsche. I appreciate that. 谢谢雷总。What I'm looking for questions here. I'll answer maybe a couple of questions, and then we're going to get started. Terry has a Dino Mi Bunny. Way to go, Terry. That's pretty cool. How's the battery life on the new B band? I have it. I've had it on my wrist for about 30 days now, and I haven't had to charge, and I haven't even thought about charging. So I think we're doing pretty well with battery life, just like in the first version. Yes, Naveen, this is Mi Band 2, in case you just tuned in as well. I know you guys are waiting, but it's coming pretty soon. We are obviously ramping up production so we can make many of them. Video quality on Facebook. Can you guys give me a thumbs up? Is it okay? Is video quality okay? Can you hear me well? I just wanted to make sure that you guys are hearing me okay. So just give me a thumbs up. Abhishek Sarma is saying, go ahead and open it. I will do that in a second. How much is the Mi Band 2? We'll let you know pretty soon. Redmi 2 motherboard, we can talk to you later about that. Wolverine definitely refers to Hugo. Of course, that has to come from Diana. Diana's a good friend, so she'll definitely say that. I'm going to like that. Thanks, Diana. All right. Okay.
Let's roll.
Let's get rolling. We're at 3.6 thousand viewers already on Facebook Live, and we are just crossing 5,200 viewers on Xiaomi live stream. Okay, well, we're here today, guys, to talk about Mi Drone. In case you just joined us, welcome. This is the Xiaomi, this is the Mi Drone live stream unboxing, and you can see it right here. Before unboxing the product, I want to tell you a little bit about it. This is a beautiful product we've been designing for quite a while. So I'm going to show you some details here on the screen, and then we're going to go ahead and talk about the product. This is what it looks like, by the way. You'll see it live in just a few minutes. So it's a beautiful, simplistic design. Some people say it looks like a four-legged spider. I don't know what a four-legged spider would look like, but that sounds pretty good. And I'm going to talk about all details throughout the next half hour or so. I'll talk to you about the propeller technology. I'll talk to you about battery life. We'll talk in great detail about the camera. There's a couple of different camera options that we offer, 1080p and 4K. So we'll talk about all of that in the next few minutes. This is what Mi Drone looks like when it's flying. It's very compact, really light also. In fact, the weight is almost entirely on the battery. We thought really carefully about what size battery we were going to include, because obviously we wanted to give it super long battery life and at the same time not make it too heavy, especially because you got to carry it around, so we don't want it to be too heavy. So let's keep going here. This is another view of the drone. From the bottom, what you start to see here is the different lights. These are lights that are used for orientation when you're driving the drone, so you can see which way it's facing when you're driving forward, for example. I'll show you that in a little bit. This is another view. This is the propeller. I'll talk about how we have two different kinds of propellers, 4 propellers in total. They actually spin in different directions in a way that really balances out the drone, helps with the balance, and it's pretty cool. Really amazing camera technology here, both the camera itself, and I'll talk about the sensor details in a bit, as well as the stabilization technology that we use, which is pretty phenomenal, and you see what that looks like in real life. The controller, which looks like this, very simple, ergonomically designed. We use a PCB antenna technology for those of you who are following everything we launched. It's a similar sort of antenna that we use in our latest generation of Mi routers. This is a PCB antenna. It gives you the best possible reach, up to 2 kilometers live streaming of video at 720p, which we'll talk about in a second as well. So I will give you a demo of the controller in just a few minutes. And of course, you can attach your smartphone, Android or iOS, right to the controller so that you can obviously see as you're driving, see what the drone is seeing as you're driving as well. And I'll show you a video with the loud here. Thanks, Jack. So here are all the details of the drone. A lot of attention paid to the design, of course. And I'll show you this live. I'll give you a demo in just a second. The gimbal that we use for the camera is one of the best pieces of technology that we have on this product. Talk to you about all the details, but I just wanted to give you a quick sneak preview, just a little flavor of what this looks like. So this is some imagery that's actually captured by the Mi drone. You guys can see here, spectacular imagery. Notice how stable it is, how incredibly stable this stuff looks like. Beautiful, right? Obviously, we took it around the world to shoot some beautiful imagery for you guys. All of these videos will be on YouTube as well as here on Facebook, so you can take it out and check it out later. I'll point out a few of the features of the remote, and then I will also show those to you live when I do a quick demo of just showing the different pieces. Right here is a takeoff and landing button. So you just press that button, it'll take off to 4 meters, and then hover at 4 meters, and then you can decide what to do from there. And of course, if you press that button when it's hovering, it'll land straight down, obviously slowly from whatever position it's in. So that's the takeoff and landing button, and you can see here a video that shows that in action. So a quick takeoff, it'll go up and hover, and then of course you can drive it from there. Press it again, and the drone will land. There's another control up here. You have two modes of operation. One is just regular manual flying, and then you have a go home button. Basically, you just slide this button to the right. It sticks. It's not. It may look like an elastic button, but it sticks. So you move it to the right, and then that'll just start driving the Mi drone home. Of course, you can at any time just slide it back and continue driving yourself. If it's gone too far away from you and you're like, oh my God, I want to bring it back, or at least bring it closer to me, just say go home, and then you can interrupt it halfway through, and and then you can drive it again if you want. Just showing how precise the home button or the home feature is. One of the interesting things about this drone is that we have 3 methods for positioning. We want to make sure that people know that the drone knows exactly where it is. So we're using GPS, we're using GLONASS, and we're also using an assistive mode when GPS or GLONASS isn't available. It actually uses vision. It uses a separate camera to help the drone locate itself. I'll show you that live in a bit. But watch this demo here. The drone took off from a very small platform, which was actually just a box for the product, and it's going to land back in the same spot. So that's what you're seeing right here on this video. It'll just come back, obviously slowly, to the exact same spot where it took off from. There it is, so it looks pretty awesome. A couple of other interesting options on Mi drone is autopilot. We've actually built a few different autopilot options just to make it easier for you to get what you want to do, with your drone. So for example, you could choose a point on a map and say drive there, and your Mi drone is going to drive over there. It might have to cross a little bit of ocean to get to the tip of that island, for example, but that's a cool feature. So you can basically put it anywhere without necessarily having to go there yourself, and with much higher precision, of course, than your visual acuity, because you're talking about high precision GPS based on the map. Another really cool autopilot feature is basically tracing a path. This is a waypoint based approach to telling the drone where to go. You guys may remember, old school flight simulators where you'd have to complete waypoint based missions, fly here, then fly there, then fly there. So that's exactly what you do as well in this autopilot function. You set the waypoints, and then Mi drone is going to drive, or fly, I should say, from one waypoint to the next, and basically go through the path that you've traced for it. You can do this, for example, if you're making a home movie and you want to make sure that it captures, particular scenes. It'll do it beautifully. It'll drive itself beautifully, and then all you have to do is point the camera, right? So think about an autopilot where you tell the drone exactly where to go, and then it's essentially like there's a helicopter pilot flying exactly where you want, and all you have to focus on is the camera. I'll show you the separate controls for the camera on the remote. So basically, it gives you like amazing cinematography, aerial cinematography, basically right in your hands. Another cool feature that we thought was pretty interesting, also for those of us with cinematography aspirations, is a simple feature that just circles around a particular point. Of course, it would be an object, or a house, or a tree, or a group of people, or whatever it might be, and you can do that from any height. So it can be, just literally above your heads, and it's showing a bunch of people, for example, that are playing or having fun or posing for a photo, or you can do it around a volcano, for example, at a much higher altitude. But basically, you tell the point at which you want it to hover around, you set the altitude, and you say what the diameter of the circle should be. Right? So it can be a tight circle of maybe 5-10 meters, or it can be 200 meters, 500 meters, and it'll just do a beautiful sort of continuous hover around the point. And then what you can do then at that point also is just control where the camera is facing. If you do nothing, the camera will just stay focused in the center of that path, right? So you're essentially looking at something from all of its sides, and you're sort of smoothly moving around it and just kind of watching that from different angles. So those are the autopilot functions that we've designed into Mi Drone. One of the things I talked about earlier was the size of the battery. Like I said, we've designed a very, very lightweight machine, and it's so light that 2/3 of the weight, it is actually the battery. We're packing a 5100 milliamp hour battery, 17.4 volts. Obviously, so it's a much higher power battery than a cell phone battery, but of course the capacity is similar, for example, to that of a Xiaomi Max, of a Mi Max. But it's a higher power, meaning it can deliver power at a faster rate because it's a 17.4 volt battery as compared to 4.4 or 4.5 volt batteries on cell phones. I'll show you how the battery looks, how you take it in, how you take it out, how you put it back in, how you charge it when we do the unboxing in just a second. We made it really light by essentially making the body, the skin, if you will, and the skeleton as thin as possible. So it's only just over 1 millimeter. It's very, very thin. And we'll talk about the propeller, or airfoil as we call it, which has a pretty awesome design as well. And I'll talk to you about how we have 2 different propeller shapes to help with the stabilization system. Quick pause here. I want to welcome those of you who have just joined. This is the Mi Drone unboxing live stream. We're live here from Xiaomi headquarters in Beijing, and we're streaming live simultaneously to Facebook. We've got 4.4 thousand viewers on Facebook.
Share for you.
I know I'm funny. All right. Okay, with me to share. All right, and if you're on Facebook, you should definitely share this live stream with your friends so that they know that this is happening right now. Of course, they can watch it later, but it's much better to watch it live, right?
Or they can leave a question.
And also, please put in your questions. I'll be looking for questions as we go here. Primarily, as I'm doing the unboxing, I really want to hear what you guys want to learn about, and then we can deep dive that way. So now 4,500 viewers on Facebook. We're also live streaming on the Xiaomi Live app, and we are just about to cross 8,000 viewers on the Xiaomi Live app. So thank you guys for being here. All right, so I'll talk about the gimbal now. So we have this really awesome ultralight gimbal camera, which is designed to, first of all, be very, very stable, so that anything you're doing, it doesn't matter how much wind there is at the time, your videos, your photos are going to look very stable, no blur, no shake, and so on. And the second thing that it does is it also stays focused. It's very important, for example, if you're filming something and you're trying to focus on a particular point, it's very important for the camera to stay focused on that. So we've designed this gimbal kind of like a mini Steadicam. If you guys are into movie making, films, it's kind of like a mini Steadicam that stays stable and it stays pointed in the same direction. And I'll give you a live demo of that in a bit as well. The gimbal itself is extraordinarily high-end technology. It uses a carbon fiber
and polycarbonate structure, so it's designed to be very light, even though there's quite a bit of technology in there. We have 14 circuit boards. This is in the gimbal assembly alone, and 3 motors, right? So these are motors that keep this 3D gimbal essentially in place. Plus this interesting kind of foamy support foundation that prevents it from vibrating. It basically absorbs vibration of many, many different frequencies to keep everything stable. Obviously, you have 4 motors on this thing, so this device, of course, vibrates like crazy, but you don't want any of that vibration to pass on to the filming that you're doing, and that's why we've designed the gimbal in this manner. All right, let's keep going here. We have a couple of different options. One of them is a 4K Ultra HD camera. And so that's a 12.4 megapixel Sony BSI sensor, 6-piece lens. This all sounds very familiar, right? We're talking about the same type of high-end camera technology that we put on our flagship smartphones. You've heard me talking about 6-piece lens many times before. It has a very, very wide angle, 104 degrees, obviously so that you can capture as much as possible. More than 104 degrees angle would start to make things look a bit distorted, a bit too fish eye-like. So 100 degrees is essentially the maximum that you would go so that you get natural images and yet a wide enough angle. And you can also shoot in RAW, so you can get RAW images out of this camera in the same way that you would out of a professional, DSLR type camera, and then you can bring that right into, Lightroom or Photos or whatever aperture, whatever you use for photo processing, and you've got your raw images in there. Okay. Another cool thing is that because of this PCB antenna that I mentioned to you earlier, very long range, you can get live 720p video with almost no latency, really high quality, up to 2 kilometers away. So up to 2 kilometers away. So it works extraordinarily well. Let's see. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. I've mentioned to you guys this gimbal technology. The idea here is that even though the drone might be moving around, vibrating, or moving in multiple different axes, the camera should stay put. Right? That's the idea here, almost as if you were operating a Steadicam. The accuracy in terms of responding to movement is very, very quick. You basically can quickly respond and almost not change the angle. We'll talk about plus or minus 0.02 degree accuracy in response to movement, whether it's slow movement or kind of sudden fast movement. 3-axis gimbal. And this is what it looks like. It basically folds away, so it essentially becomes a flat surface. This could probably be sold at IKEA as a very thin box if they decided to sell it, because everything can become very, very flat. You guys don't like my jokes? I like my jokes.
Yeah! I like your jokes.
So this is what it looks like when it's disassembled. Let me go through all of these components here. So starting on your left side here, this is the controller, and I'll talk about that later. The propellers, there's basically 4 different propellers. You can see that they're different colors. I'll explain that why in just a bit. This is the main body of the drone with the landing gear open, so it essentially kind of opens up. Think about, an old dog who's just very, very tired. It, just kind of just goes like that. That's what the drone looks like. You don't like my jokes?
Ha 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 ha.
Old dog.
Old dog?
Old dog.
Okay.
Goes like this.
I don't have an old
Thanks,
dog.
thanks. I know. This little guy here, which I'll mention to you in a second, is actually a very important piece of technology. This is a vision-based location system. It's primarily used when you're indoors, when you have 0 GPS, which means, by the way, that you don't even know how high you are. If you're indoors, if you're under, tree covers, and you've got no GPS signal, this little piece is what gives vision-based positioning, so that you can still drive safely, land automatically, also when you're indoors. The gimbal, which I've talked about, and the charger, which I'll show you. All of this is in the box. And it fits pretty nicely even in a regular backpack, which I'll show you as well. The simple idea here is if you travel anywhere with it, you don't need a special case, you don't need to check it in, you can just carry it with you, and it's pretty easy. I'll demo how the built-in phone holder works for this particular drone. And Mi Drone also comes with propeller guards. The idea here is when you're starting, if this is the first drone that you've ever used, or if you're in an environment that's perhaps not as spacious, maybe in a warehouse or indoors somewhere, put on the propeller guards. I'll show that to you later. That makes it such that it's a lot more difficult to damage your Mi Drone, and you don't lose really anything on stability or speed or anything like that, but it gives you just a little bit more protection when you're flying it. Another cool feature is that if the remote disconnects, basically if you've gone too far, it will basically return home automatically, or at least return closer to you such that you're back in control once again. So it's always making sure that it's in a safe situation. By the way, the location tracking works even if for whatever reason you cause it to crash. Even if you crash it, you'll still be able to retrieve it, of course, by the fact that it'll be telling the remote, it'll be telling the app where it crashed, and you can just get to it. If you've been flying it a lot and you're not really keeping track of the battery, and it hits a critical battery situation, it always knows how much battery it needs to go back home, or to go back to where it started. So if it's gone very far and it realizes that it may not have enough battery to come back, then it'll just go into automatic home run. It'll just run back home automatically and land before it runs out of battery, which of course wouldn't be a pretty scene. And yeah, this is the summary. I'll come back to it later. We're going to talk about pricing as well. And I'm pretty excited to talk to you guys about this product. Maybe I should go back here to the first page. There you go. Now, let's see. We are approaching 5,000 viewers on Facebook, and we just crossed 7,000 viewers on the Xiaomi Live app. If you're joining us now, welcome. This is the live unboxing of the Mi Drone, which we just announced today. This is Hugo. I'm here in the Xiaomi headquarters in Beijing, and looks like I'm all by myself, but I'm actually not. I've got a huge crew right here. And we're broadcasting live on Facebook and on the Xiaomi Live app. All right, so I'm gonna get started with the unboxing. But before that, you might be asking the question, why did we decide to build a drone? Why? You guys make phones, you make TVs, but a drone? Yeah. Well, Xiaomi exists as a company that loves to make awesome technology available to anyone. And drone is a really good example of a product that many people might say, I'm sure you guys or many of you will agree, is typically an expensive product for rich people. That's the reality. If you want to buy a really, really good high-end drone, if you're into professional, cinematography, if you want high-quality movies and stills and so on, you're going to have to pay a lot of money for your drone. But we decided that this is an area that we wanted to tackle. We thought we could make the same kind of high-end technology with a lot of new features available for a much more affordable price. The other thing that I also have heard a lot about people who have drones is that they're hard to drive. You have to train yourself a lot. You really have to think about orientation. Oh, now the drone is driving back at me the different way, so right becomes left, stuff like that. We really wanted to make it easier, which is why we've built some of these autopilot functions that I told you guys about just here now, and I'll repeat again to those who have just joined. And also, it needs to be easy to carry. None of this, buy a new backpack, a new case just for the drone. When you travel, you have to check it in because it's too big to carry on board. No, we want it to be portable so that you could really carry it everywhere. I'm going to pause for a second to turn on the AC because it's really hot here. It's really hot. Okay. All right. There you go. Okay. So should we start unboxing? What do you guys say? We're at 5.3 thousand viewers on Facebook, and we have almost 8,000 on the Xiaomi Live app.
You should see the comments to see whether they want you to unbox it now.
Sivan is saying, shut up.
Open the box.
Arya is saying, too long foreplay.
Oh.
Nuyel is saying, open the box. The Dashing is saying, come on. Okay, all right, fine. I think I got it. Okay, so. Okay, open. Delicious, open. All right.
Hit the love button.
All right, so let's take a look here, guys. Why don't you come close? So this is what we're talking about here. This is the Mi drone. You're taking an exclusive first look at it. And first of all, I'm going to take out the gimbal, which is right here. It usually comes neatly packed in a separate box, but this is a sort of prototype unit here. So I'm going to take everything out neatly, and I'm going to set it here on the table. So first of all, let's take out these covers. These are sort of soft covers that protect the motors here, or the rotors. This is called a rotor, not a motor. All right, I'm going to put that here and take this out. Put it down here so that I'm not making a mess. And I'm going to take out the controller, which we'll look at in a bit as well. I'll show this to you in a second. Okay. What else do we have here? So this is the battery, and we'll talk about this in detail in just a second. Along, of course, with the battery charger, which is right here, including the charger cable. And of course, what are we missing? What are we missing, guys? What are we missing? We're missing the propellers. So the propellers are right here. And I'll put that neatly on the desk here in just a second. And
two sets.
We have two sets of propellers. I'm going to take only one set out. And these are the propeller guards, or shields as I like to call them. And Nayu is going to take these. Okay. Now why don't we just make this neat, shall we? So we've got two propellers here. Got these guys. Another two propellers right here. That's the controller. That's the battery. Let's have the battery closer here. Battery and charger, let's keep them close together. That's the controller, and this is the magic gimbal. Open this if we want as well. All right, check this out. Shall we take a photo? This looks pretty good. Let's take a photo. What do you guys think? Danny, you want to take a photo?
Yep. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, one more.
Oh, it's too bright.
Too bright.
Yeah. You're shining bright like a diamond.
You get one of these.
Hugo, check out the number of love on your Facebook.
Pretty cool, right? All right. Wow, we're approaching 6.6 thousand live viewers on Facebook. Guys, if you're just joining us, this is Hugo, and you are here for the Mi Drone live unboxing, live here on Facebook. I've introduced the product to everyone who's watching, and I've just started the unboxing, as you can see here. And now we're going to put it together. So thank you guys for joining, and I'll be looking for your questions as we go here as well. Okay, so what should we do first? Jack, should we do propellers to start?
Yeah, just prop up the stand.
Yeah. Okay, so this is what it looks like when you take it out of the box. You can see that it's very, very thin. I make the joke that Celine didn't like earlier that IKEA could sell this product because it's so flat. Well, we're going to make it stand up right here. So what you do is we just release the legs, and it's basically the landing gear, and it's locked into place. If I want to basically put it back up, basically just slide this little guy slide this little guy here.
Push it in
Sorry.
front.
Up. Hmm?
Just like this.
Uh,
Yeah, just push it in front.
just push it.
In front.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then,
Can't be too delicate with these things.
yeah.
And just push it this way. And you can make it go back up, right? So we're gonna keep the linear geared out because we're gonna be assembling this guy. So I'm gonna start with the propellers. Is that right?
Yep.
What you guys will notice here is red, and then silver, and then red, and then silver. Now, here's the idea. This is a bit too complicated for me to know exactly how to explain, but it's roughly that by having rotors that are spinning in different directions, so two spinning one way, like this, and then two spinning the other direction, you are going to give this device a little more stability. If you had the rotors all going in the same direction, it's something about angular momentum that I don't know how to explain anymore, but I used to be able to. Donovan can probably do a far better job at me than this. But it basically gives you more stability. Then you're going to match red to red, red to red. And when you look here on the propeller, it will tell you in which direction that you're going to attach it. So basically, you just put it on, you give it a whirl. Now, you don't have to worry too much about tightening it because as it turns on, it will tighten itself automatically just by the virtue of the fact that it's spinning. So I'm going to put that one on. This one I should attach with a clockwise movement. So that's done. Looks pretty well attached. Then I'm going to do the other, this is the other gray or silver here. So that's attached as well. And this is the other red, which attaches counterclockwise. So we do that here. Okay. So I've got the propellers attached, just double checking that they're in a good place here. Okay, so this is what it looks like with the propellers attached. There you go. And a little bit of applause. Okay.
Good job.
Now you're looking straight into the belly here. Obviously that's where the battery goes. And here is the battery. Maybe I'll say a few words about the battery. This is actually a pretty heavy battery. It's 5,000 milliamp hours. And this is a 17.4 volt battery, as I said earlier. It is about the same capacity in terms of sort of total stored energy, but a much higher power throughput than what you'd expect, obviously, to find on a phone. So at the end of the day, you obviously can drive a lot more with a 17.4 volt battery compared to a 4.4 volt battery, which is what you find on the phone. This battery is about 2/3 of the combined weight of the entire product, right? So this is extraordinarily light. I can feel right here that this is lighter than this. In fact, this feels like about half the weight of this, which is in fact just about right. The battery comes in and out very easily, so I'm going to attach it right here. So it's attached, and if I want to take it off, you'll see here we've got a kind of a fast release mechanism, so I can hold it like this, press that button, and it just comes straight out. Right, so it's very easy to swap batteries, and the charger is right here. So it's a much larger charger, of course, than a phone charger. What you do is you just snap this out, snap this little cover out. You see the two contact pins over there. You see the contact pins on either side of the battery here. There's one on this side, right here. There's one on this side. All you got to do is just connect it like this. Connect the charger, and you're charging your battery. So pretty easy to do. There you go. So I'm going to put the battery back in here. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to attach the gimbal. So I'm going to maybe put it like this. And it's safe for your Mi drone to basically lie on its back. It's designed such that you have a pretty good position to attach the gimbal. So this is the gimbal right here. We're going to connect it. So basically, I put it in here. I have a slide lock mechanism into place right there. It's now secure. And turn it out. and there it is. What's interesting here that you'll see is this mechanism that's using the sort of rubbery foundation. This is essentially what makes it vibrate a lot less. It absorbs the vibration of the rotors of the engines up above. Okay. Jack, what should we do next? Do you want to show the lights or should we show the controller first?
Power it on.
Yeah, okay, so we're going to power it on. Now, if you guys have tried drones in the past, it's important to have a safety mechanism for powering on and for powering off. You don't want to accidentally power it on or power it off. So the way to turn it on, and it's always going to be like this, you're going to use a two-step process. You tap quickly and then you tap and hold. And that will turn it on. You could see the lights growing here. That's the signal that it's on. And then you'll see right away the lights right here. Now, what do these lights mean? Basically, these are orientation lights. When it's flying, basically it's flying away from you like this. Left is always going to be red. Right is always going to be green. And the other lights basically don't really matter.
Front.
They will
Tell you which is the front.
Of course, they tell you which is the front, and they glow, right? So they you make it look like you have a proper air vehicle here. The idea is, of course, so that you know when you're driving in which direction it's facing, and it becomes easy for you. What you see here too, this is the gimbal, and I talked to you about how it stabilizes automatically later. The idea is that it wants to essentially be pointing in the same direction. So no matter what you do, it's always going to be roughly pointing in the same way. See how that's pretty cool, right? It doesn't matter in which direction I turn, it's always going to try and stay pointing in the same direction. So that's the stabilizer. It's kind of like a steady cam. If you guys are into films, it's basically like a steady cam. So that's the gimbal right there. Okay, so I'm going to let it rest here for a bit.
And you can power it off.
Should we talk about this now or later?
You can talk about that.
Okay.
This is what it looks like.
Okay. So, of course, when you're starting to fly this drone, if you're sort of new to this kind of technology, we strongly recommend rather than flying with sort of open propellers like this, you should attach these what we call propeller guards. So basically, they attach right here at the bottom. You basically have to take out a couple of screwdrivers and you attach them on all the four sides. By the way, we actually ship the Mi drone with these with the proper tools. So it's a nice little screwdriver right here. So you have exactly what you need. This is a non-standard, well, somewhat standard, but it's neither a flat nor a Phillips.
Non-magnetic.
It's a non-magnetic screwdriver that you can use to attach the propeller guards. And when you attach them, thank you, Celine, this is what it looks like. Actually looks pretty cool, pretty badass in my opinion. You can take a photo if you want, Danny. And so this is what it looks like with the propeller guards on.
Here. All right.
Cool. All right.
Why don't
So-
you post one for Facebook Live so they can do a screenshot?
You guys want to do a screenshot?
Screenshot.
All right, screenshot.
Screenshot and paste in the comments.
Take a screenshot and post
In the car.
in the comments. It's pretty cool, right? Pretty meta.
Yeah,
Will I see the screenshots here? I don't
Later.
think I will, right? I will see them later.
you see it later.
I see. Cool. All right.
Cool.
Let me give this back to you guys. All right. So now we're gonna turn to the. Now we're gonna turn to the remote control, the controller. Okay. So here it is. So this is the controller for Mi drone, and there's quite a few things that I'll mention to you here.
Looks like
Hi, buddy. Okay.
Mi bunny.
Yeah, Mi Bunny is pretty well tuned in here. Okay, so this is the controller. Ergonomic design. It kind of fits nicely in your hands. It's got a rubbery track here in the back. Make sure that it stays stable. It doesn't slip out. The first thing I pointed out earlier was this PCB antenna. So this is the same type of antenna technology that we use in our highest end Xiaomi routers. This will basically give you the longest possible range. And when you're flying your drone, basically you want to position the antenna sort of like this. That will give you the best flying range. What else? You can attach your phone right here. So basically you pull this up. You can see that little flap comes out to hold it in place. And then you can put a phone of pretty much any size here so that you can see the live video as you're shooting. I'll just push this down and show you the rest.
Sure, just put in a phone.
Yeah, okay. Oh, there you go. So put it right here, and I'll slap my Mi 5 over here. It's pretty easy to do. You do not need two people. You can do this by yourself, and there it is. Right, so it works pretty well. Take it out pretty easily, and just push that flap in and push it out. Okay. Now let me show you the buttons. Let's talk about the buttons here. So the way, like I said, like I showed you earlier for powering on the drone, same safety mechanism applies to the remote controller. The last thing you want is for the remote controller to accidentally turn off while you're flying, for example, or to accidentally turn on when you do not want to fly. So same mechanism applies. You tap once and then you hold, and that will turn it on. Except it didn't. Let's try that again. There you go. So that just turned it on. You can see the lights here. What do these buttons do? Power button. This is a takeoff and landing button. So it'll take off to a hovering altitude of 4 meters when you hit it once. And then if you hit it again when it's flying, it'll just land nicely down on top of wherever it is when you press that button. Up here is the flying mode. So you've got two flying modes. You've got the manual regular flying mode, which is also how you're going to do autopilot functions. Or you can go to this mode right here. It's a toggle. That's the home flying, as you can see. Basically, this means the drone will start flying back to the exact place from where it took off, and it will land in the exact place from where it took off. Now, the interesting thing is, as it's flying home, you can drive it as well. You can sort of take over. The idea is maybe the drone went too far away from you, you want to bring it back, but rather than figure out how to bring it back by yourself, you just switch back to home flying mode, and then you can bring it back and obviously take it over again, or go back to manual flying mode. It's really easy to do. The controllers are as you would expect. Here you go up and down, and you can also turn, and this is the sort of latitudinal navigation. So you go forward, you go back, you go left, you go right. Essentially, you do this. Right? So with this guy here, you do this and this. With this guy here, you do this, essentially. And then lastly, there's a little attachment here. If you want to wear the controller, you can just wear the controller with a strap by attaching it here pretty securely. Other couple things that I would mention to you. First of all, are these two buttons right here, or these two controls right here. This guy, as well as this guy here. These are your camera buttons. So this is how you're going to control camera movement. Basically up and down, and from one side to the next. That's how you control the camera. And then down here, you've got two buttons, one for video and one for photo. Actually, can't remember which one is which.
Yeah.
But they have a different texture, so you will always know which one is which. One for photo, one for video. And like I said earlier, with the 4K camera, you can capture not only 4K video, but you can also capture 12 megapixel stills in raw format. So you can get raw format imagery out of your Mi drone with the 4K gimbal, which means you can bring it straight into Lightroom, Aperture, whatever it might be, and you know, do it as you would if you had taken that photo on a DSLR camera. So I'm going to turn this guy off, same procedure as before. Tap quick and then tap hold. So that turns it off, and I'll put it down here. Okay. I'll talk a little bit about the gimbal just one more time, which you guys can see here. As I mentioned earlier, it will try to face in the same direction no matter what I do. It's kind of like a steady cam. Pretty cool, right? Even if I sort of am a little bit more aggressive in how I do this, it will always try to face the same direction. This comes in two options for the camera, 4K option and 1080p option. You're looking at the 4K model here. It's a Sony It's a Sony sensor, 12.4 megapixel for the 4K camera, and it is it 14 or 16? Siling for the Siling is not here. For the 1080p camera. In any case, it's a little bit higher resolution for the 1080p camera, and it's got you can see a semi-spherical lens here. This gives you about 104 degrees of wide angle. 104 is wide enough to give you a good image without any distortion, since you don't really want a fisheye type experience with this lens. What else? You've got basically 3 motors here that are essentially the thing that makes the camera stay stable like this. And the structure of this gimbal is a combination of carbon fiber and polycarbonate. Polycarbonate, by the way, is a fancy word for plastic. But carbon fiber and polycarbonate combination. It's a pretty high-end piece of technology. We have 14 circuit boards in here, and all of it obviously is packed pretty closely together, but this is a pretty high-end piece of technology here. We wanted the best possible camera that one can put on Mi Drone so that you get the best images out of it. All right, what do you guys think so far?
You just crossed 8.6 thousand viewers on Facebook Live.
I see 8.8 thousand here now.
8.8.
Why don't you guys ask some questions? I'm going to take some questions here, then we're going to keep going with the demo. What happens if flying and battery gets over? That question came from Borzine. What happens if it's flying and the battery gets over? Will it fall from the sky or land safely? Funny you ask, because, and let me like your comment, Borzine, first of all. Thank you for asking that question. What?
The app will just prompt you that it's low battery and advise you to bring it back.
All right, I have no idea what you guys are talking about. But anyways, what happens is the Mi Drone is always keeping track of how much battery it has left and how far away it is from quote unquote home. Home is where it took off from. So if it goes beyond the point at which it would run, basically would not have enough battery to come back home, it basically turns around as it comes back, right? So it knows when it doesn't have more sufficient battery, and it will come back and land before it quote unquote falls from the sky. Let's see what other questions you guys have here. All right, let's see. What other questions do you guys have? Can you fly to the moon? Well, this Mi Drone requires an atmosphere because it essentially is using mechanical lift, which is why it has propellers. If you wanted to go to the moon, we'd have to add jet propulsion to it, which we're not quite there yet. So it cannot quite fly to the moon yet, but it can go pretty high. When it runs out of battery, will it stop recording video? It will always calculate the amount of battery needed to come back home without stopping the recording, right? So that's how it works. The range of the drone,
2 km, 4K.
we would recommend you stay within 2 kilometers, obviously because that's the range, the maximum range from which you can stream live video. So that's what we would recommend, so to try to stay within 2 kilometers, which by the way is pretty far. That's for the 4K, 2 kilometers for the 4K, and then 1 kilometer for the other model, for the 1080p model.
Also depends whether you're flying in the city or out in the open.
And of course, depends on the kind of environment that you're flying in, as well as Jack just pointed out. Autopilot, Jeff is asking about autopilot. Do we have autopilot functions? We have several different autopilot functions, which I mentioned earlier. I'll talk about these quickly. So the first autopilot mode is choose a point on a map. So you can say fly to this particular location, and you take off, you say autopilot, and it will fly straight to that location, and it'll get there. That's autopilot mode number 1. Autopilot mode number 2 is a flight path or a waypoint based autopilot. You choose different points on a map, and it will essentially go from one point to the next. It'll basically sort of fulfill that path that you've created for it. And the idea here is to maybe visit a few different points that you want to film. So, for example, you want to show a resort, and you want to show this pool and that part of the resort and that beach and that that area. And what's cool when you're doing this, if the drone is flying autopilot, it exactly knows where to go, so you don't need to worry about flying it. You don't need to worry about driving. Then what you can do is you can just control the camera, right? So you can essentially just be a cinematographer flying a helicopter, essentially, is what it looks like. So you just basically control the camera, so you can control where it's pointed, and the drone will just fly its path for you. That's autopilot mode number 2, which is waypoint flight path. The third autopilot mode is what we call circle around. So you pick a point, an object. It could be, it could be a tree, it could be a building, it could be a group of people, and you say just circle around that group. Just go around that group, and the camera stays pointed at the center. But of course, you can move it around as well. You specify the altitude, and you specify the diameter of that circle. It could be a few meters, or it could be a few hundred meters. So you could be circling around maybe a group of people, for example, who are taking a photo or celebrating or having dinner outdoors or whatever it might be. Or you could circle around the volcano crater, right, which is much, much bigger, and film that and get all this beautiful footage. So that's autopilot. It can come back home automatically as well. This is the home mode that I showed to you guys earlier. You just slide into home mode, and it'll come back home. That's kind of an autopilot as well. Let's see. Other questions?
How long is the flight?
How long can you fly for? Good question. The Mi drone will fly for up to 27 minutes on a single battery charge, right? So almost half an hour of continuous non-stop flying time.
Somebody asked if the resolution recorder is what you see on the phone.
The resolution recorder is what you see on the phone. Well, it won't be if you're recording 4K video, of course. And in fact, even if you're recording 1080p video, what you'll see on the phone live is 720p video. And then, of course, you'll extract the high resolution video from the device after the fact. Looks like the video on Facebook has a problem. Are you still seeing? If you guys want to take a look at it here, I'm just getting a spin.
Okay.
It's
Yeah?
going
It's okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
so it's just an
right.
issue with the phone here. No problems. Oh, this is an interesting question. Can we add Mi power banks and increase the flight time? That is a good idea. I'm afraid it probably won't work too well. First of all, because the power banks will not have an energy throughput that this product would need, and also you're going to increase the weight of the device, which is potentially not a great idea.
Well, you can always get extra battery.
But you can always, exactly as Jack just said, you can always buy extra batteries, and you can have a couple of batteries with you. So you could easily, carry 2, 3, 4 batteries with you, and you can have, almost a couple of hours of continuous recording capability. Of course, you just have to bring your Mi drone back, and then swap the battery. Too much of hand wave. Okay. All right, I'll try not to wave my hands.
Put in your pockets.
I'll put it
Someone asked about micro SD storage.
micro SD storage.
8 gig to 64 gig, class 10.
There you go. So you can have an SD card of up to 64 gigs, class 10 SD card, which will give you very fast transfer speed. Class 10 because you need to be able to store very quickly since you're shooting potentially at 4K resolution. Somebody is asking about the controller battery. So the controller battery is actually built in, and the controller is something that you'll charge. So you have here is a power. This is power. So this is how you charge the controller, and this is essentially a USB output. And I don't actually know what the USB output is for. Do you guys know what the USB output is for?
Oh, yeah, to connect it to the phone.
To connect to the phone.
Yeah,
I see.
because the connection to the phone is tethered.
Is tethered, yeah. So, this is probably an interesting design question. Why tether and not do it wireless?
It's a stable connection.
It's a stable connection, and you don't have to go through pairing and all this stuff. So you just connect the phone directly through here, and of course you want to keep your controller charged
when you power it on, or if you just tap the power button, you'll see what the charge looks like. It looks like we're at 50% charge right now. Okay, let's see what other questions do we have. Do you have sample shots of the quality of the video?
Do you want to show the video again?
I'll show you guys a really cool video.
Maybe you can show the product video again.
Okay. All right, so let's show, I'm going to show you guys a few videos here.
Yeah.
Start with the product video. All right, what do you guys think?
Woo!
Pretty cool, right? Since I don't get applause in the room, I'll give myself All right, do you guys want to see a video of what it looks like from Mi Drone? You want to see some real footage from Mi Drone? I'll show you that now. That video is towards the end here, right, Sil?
It's the product video actually.
Huh?
It's in
It's
the
part of the
product
product.
video.
Oh, it was already there?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, fantastic.
Maybe you can just take some more questions and.
So another question that somebody asked right here was, does it have GPS? Well, it has GPS for sure. And in fact, there are 3 different positioning technologies that we're using here. One is GPS, one is GLONASS, which is a GPS-like satellite-based positioning system. And it also has a vision-based positioning system. And if you look right here, I didn't show that earlier, this is the vision-based positioning module. What you see right here is actually a camera. It's a camera that's always pointing down. And the idea is it's very critical for your Mi drone to know where it is in terms of altitude. It needs to know how far away it is from the ground. And if you don't have GPS signal, then you will not know where it is relative to the ground. So this camera kicks in at the very least so that if you tell it how to land, it'll know how far it is from the ground so that it can really adjust, do a proper landing, if you will. I always like to show this. This is the gimbal in action. You can see basically how it keeps the camera pointed in the same direction at all times. It's pretty cool, right? All right. Now people are asking, what is the price? What is the price? Should we talk about the price? I actually have a slide for this, so I can show you all of the details right here. So let's talk about the price. So Mi Drone comes in 2 versions. One is the 1080p version. So that's a 1080p camera with a range of about 1 kilometer. And that's 2499 renminbi. You guys can run your numbers there. So 24.99 renminbi in US dollars. Do you want to give that range? If you're in India, I can do a calculation. It's very easy. It's about 25,000 rupees equivalent, of course. And the 4K version is 2,999 renminbi. That's a 30,000 rupees equivalent. That's about $460. So $460 for the 4K version, and for the 1080p version, it's it's about $400. About $400 for the 1080p version. So that's Mi Drone. These are the two versions of Mi Drone. What else? What else? What else should we do?
Maybe we can take two more questions.
Let's take a couple more questions. Somebody asked if Mi Drone is waterproof. It is not waterproof, and it also doesn't fly underwater. So probably better not to fly it if it's raining. And it's also not lightning proof. Nothing in life really is lightning proof. So it is not waterproof. High Glass is asking about intelligent flight modes. It has a few different intelligent flight modes. One of them is fly to a position, so you can tell it to fly to a particular point in the map. Another one is a flight path where you set waypoints, and then your Mi Drone is going to fly to each of those points. Another one is to circle around an object, so you determine a position, you determine a diameter, essentially a distance from that point, and an altitude, and it'll just fly around continuously that particular point. Let's see. Okay. Let's take two more questions.
Yeah, and then thank them.
Two more questions. Please stop repeating things. Danesh, it's because there are people who are joining us, and I want to be able that everybody gets the point. I'm sorry for repeating myself. Okay. Can it live view on Mi TV? It's a good question. I don't think so. But you can live view on any phone, on any Android or iOS device. Somebody's saying fly it. I would generally recommend against flying in an office like we are right here. Even though our office is quite spacious, you guys should come check it out. I would generally recommend against it, especially if you're flying it for the first time. Look for an open area, outdoors, and you can use the propeller guard, by the way, if you're flying for the first time, to make sure that you protect the propellers and every part of the environment around you. Okay, I think we are just about wrapping up. I wanted to thank you guys for tuning in. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you for your questions. This video will be available for the rest of time, so you can share it on Facebook with your friends. You can come back and review it, rewind it, watch it again.
The products video.
The product videos will all be available. We're going to be posting them on Facebook. You can check out the Mi Facebook page, the Mi India Facebook page. You can check out my Facebook page, which is what you're in right now. And just check it out. Send us your questions.
All right.
All right, guys. Thank you.